It shows up before you know
The
it.
weekend just comes right away. Thank you so much for joining us for KARE 11 News at noon. Right now, celebrations are underway all across Minnesota and the country in honor of our veterans. Here at home, Governor Walz is highlighting the state's efforts. Plus, we are keeping an eye on a couple of election day recounts that could impact the makeup of the state legislature. But first, before we get into all of that, we should take a look at the weather. A typical November day, wouldn't you say?
Yes, somewhat seasonal. Temperatures are about where they should be, and we've been trending above average. We've enjoyed, we've been missing the sunshine, I'll give you that, but temperatures really have not been dropping off. It hasn't felt like any sort of Arctic air outbreak, but we do have a lot of sunshine, a little bit of cloud cover up around the Arrowhead and parts of northern Wisconsin, and we'll see a little bit of upper cloud cover coming through southwest Minnesota. But all in all, it is just beautiful to see that sunshine again. 46 right now, but it feels like 40. Those winds are still brisk this morning, northwesterly 15 miles an hour. So again, you're going to cut into those temperatures with that wind. And the good news is that wind will settle down as we get through these morning and into the afternoon hours. You can see mid-afternoon, those winds should be below 10 miles an hour. So it'll start to feel a little more like the actual air temperature. But as you can see, mid 40s. We've been enjoying some low and mid 50s as of lately. But like I said, the sun is out and it is great to see that sunshine once again.
Jamie, thank you. Ceremonies and events are already underway today in honor of Minnesota veterans. Audrey Russo shows us how Governor Walz is joining in.
Governor Tim Walz expected to attend at least 2 Veterans Day ceremonies today, transitioning back into his state leadership role with a cause that is near and dear to his heart, and that's caring for Minnesota's veterans. In the last 24 hours, Walz released an op-ed about the state's efforts. He touched on building 3 veterans' homes in 2024 alone, bringing the state's total to 8. He also highlighted Hennepin County, effectively ending veteran homelessness just last month. Now, according to the governor's office, there are more than 285,000 veterans in our state, and more than half of them are over the age of 65. Now, after the Veterans Day event at Arden Hills, Governor Walz is expected to go to the Minneapolis Veterans Home at 2 for another ceremony that's going to feature speakers and music. Back to you.
Well, events in honor of veterans continue throughout the month. In just a few minutes, we're sitting down with organizers raising funds for veteran resources. Governor Walz has 2 years left in his term, and he will face a flipped majority in the state legislature. However, 2 Minnesota House races are headed for a recount after coming within dozens of votes. Michelle Beck describes the process for us.
For District 14B in St. Cloud, election night ended with some questions. The DFL incumbent came out on top with 191 more votes, but that's after unofficial results had his Republican challenger winning at one point and then the Democrat winning again. So here's what went wrong according to Sherburne County. While they were processed the right way, some mail-in ballots didn't upload to the Secretary of State's website, and that was due to a defective memory card. Instead of sending results like it was supposed to, the card sent generic data, inflating vote totals before officials corrected the error. Sherburne County says it'll recount the votes by hand and cover the costs. Officials there added, quote, contrary to circulating rumors, no votes were lost and none were found. According to the Secretary of State, the recount process would likely start after the state canvassing board meets to certify the results on November 21st. In St. Paul, Michelle Beck, KARE 11 News.
Well, in Scott County, the Shakopee race in District 54A is also headed for a recount. Scott County rescanned some ballots due to a single ballot distribution error the day before the election at the Public Works facility and a subsequent ballot scanning machine malfunction. From the rescan, DFL Representative Brad Tapke gained 1 vote, putting him at 14 votes more than Republican challenger Aaron Paul. And because the margin of victory is lower than 0.5%, the state will pay for that recount after this Wednesday when results are certified. And we are waiting for new details from the Minnesota BCA after St. Paul police shot and killed a man they say was armed in the West 7th neighborhood. It happened Saturday afternoon. St. Paul police say they were following a tip about a man wanted for allegedly killing his pregnant ex-wife last month. Police say officers followed the man, who they say had a gun, but did not say whether he pointed it at officers or if he was the man that they were searching for. One neighbor saying that from what he witnessed, it came out of nowhere.
It's not stuff you want to have to try to explain to your kids while you're living here.
Upwards of 6 officers are on leave, which is standard for a police shooting. And after a police shooting, they say officers were wearing body cameras. Well, deer gun hunting season continues today with more than 400,000 Minnesotans heading into the woods over the weekend. Now the Minnesota DNR is reminding everyone about safety changes. And so far this season, 2 men have been seriously injured in separate incidents in Clay and Norman counties, both struck with gunfire while hunting. Police have not released any details on how it happened in either case, but this year the DNR changed some rules to enhance safety.
This year, we did change that language that if you are hunting during an open deer season on public land in a ground blind, you do have to have blaze orange. And that's, of course, just for safety issues.
Well, 3 Seasons opened up Saturday, but they do have some different end dates. You can find the latest info plus other changes on KARE11.com. Changes are also on the way for Minnesota anglers. The DNR is starting the process to lower the walleye limit. The proposal would drop the statewide bag limit from 6 to 4. A public comment period will be early next year. Some individual lakes have already made the move, but the DNR says the patchwork approach is tough to manage. The DNR says more invasive species and overfishing are putting pressure on the population, as well as climate change pushing when the fish spawn and how much food is available out of sync.
We're not talking that the walleye population is in crisis. It's not something we need to move, but we're looking towards the future of the challenges of walleye management in the state of Minnesota, and this is one way to address that.
Well, opponents argue there is not any specific justification to make a change and say that the change would only limit people's opportunities. We're tracking new developments in the search for a kayaker who went missing in August in Green Lake, Wisconsin. Police now believe he faked his own death. When 44-year-old Ryan Borgward was reported missing, police found his kayak, life jacket, and car at the lake. After dozens of searches, he was never found. Investigators later discovered he had a second passport, replaced his laptop hard drive, and cleared his web history the day before he disappeared. They say the married father of 3 was communicating with a woman believed to be from Uzbekistan. He also took out a $375,000 life insurance policy.
I speculated this early, fairly early on. I really questioned if he was there. I've never had this happen before, so that's why we kept going.
The sheriff says the #1 goal is to find him, but also recover the cost taxpayers funded searching for him.